Oh, all right. I think we are live. Welcome back to another episode of Mitten Athletics Live. Brought to you as always by your host, me, Aaron Ide, and
I'm Colin Hunter.
he's Colin Hunter. Still here, still us. We are sponsored as always by Mitten Athletic Supplies, your one-stop shop for all of your needs. So please contact us, reach out. We love to help point you in the right direction, figure out what you need, and get you moving that way. So reach out. It has been a while since we've been on, so we thought we'd try to do something a little bit different here. Kind of touched on it a little bit before, but we wanted to go through after last season, and as we're getting close to the indoor season starting here, we want to go through some things that we'd like to see changed, whether it's MHSAA, whether it is indoor track, outdoor track, just in general. I think for me, really honestly, one of the big things that I would love to see changed, which will be very hard, or at least maybe a change in the mentality of people, is more focus on coaching education throughout the Michigan coaches.
There you go.
And this is me included in this because I wish more. But I mean, it can be as simple as podcasts to books to actually going to conferences to, reaching out to peers. And I know it happens, and everyone will say they do, but I don't think it happens as much as it should.
No.
As much as we should be doing it for what these kids need and these kids deserve.
Yeah, I think there's a few factors. Like formal coaching education is the clinics, right?
Yep.
And I'm speaking as somebody who just this year joined the track committee for MITCA, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to the cross clinic I've been to the track clinic before. I'm actually going to the cross clinic for the first time next month, which is I'm looking forward to that. It's just tough when it's once a year.
Mm-hmm.
The cross clinic is at the end of cross season, and it's like some people are like, why do we do that? Why don't we do it beforehand? It's kind of a celebration. Cross is so much like it's all hyper focused on distance running, right? So there's just less there. Not to say that it's easier, it's just different. So at a track clinic,
Yep.
you got all your events to cover. I don't know if it's bigger as far as attendance go. Probably be pretty easy to figure out, but I've noticed, and it's tough because I believe it's the same weekend. The MITCA clinic is the same weekend, I think, as one of the Grand Valley meets.
I believe you're right.
And so it's just, and I think it's one of the big ones. I think it might be the Elite 3200 day.
Okay.
I think it might be, it might not be. But you're eliminating a lot of, coaches right off the bat and the Saturday session has less stuff than the other sessions. So there's that, but still, like, you're kind of eliminating some people right there. It's was we're gearing up for the season, which, track is tough because we spend, like, a good team is probably starting training for track like next month, right?
Yep.
You're going from November to June, and you get to June, and some teams go to nationals. So you're getting into June, and then there's a huge exhale, and like we're kind of like, I don't want anything to do with it for another 4 months, right? So it's tough. I think what you said about, and you can't really host, like, you can't have 2 clinics a year, right? That gets tough.
Yep.
There is a lot of, so I've been to USATF level 1 and level 2. I thought it was very beneficial. I like it. There are a lot of people who don't like our governing body at all. There are a lot of people who think that it's just a money grab.
Yeah, but you can not like that and still like what comes out of it, because there are a lot of good coaches that speak there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would venture to say about every one of them, if they get invited to speak
the
there.
people that do USATF education are coaches that really care
They know
about our craft and about coaches and coaching. You froze up. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
So I think that the education side of USATF is top notch. And if anybody doesn't know what that is, level 1 is broad. I think level 1 would be beneficial for almost every coach out there, because you have to have it gives you a basic knowledge of literally every event.
Yep.
I personally think that even assistants would do well to, number 1, learn the quote unquote official way that the governing body thinks that your event should be taught. I think that for example, the way they do distance, it just makes sense. I think it I can't speak for like throwing compared to how you teach throwing, for example, right?
Yeah.
So level 1, it's broad overview of everything. The downside is your certification, if you care about that sort of thing, only lasts 5 years. If you go into level 2, then that's where it specializes in event, and then that grandfathers your certification for forever. So you're certified in your event group, and you don't have to retake level 1 ever again.
Okay.
And that's one. So level 1 now they do level 1s over Zoom. They used to only be in person everywhere. And I'm not sure if there were more of them back then, if they had held it more often, but now it's only on Zoom, which actually makes it it lowers the barrier to entry.
I was going to say that actually makes it really nice, because before it was you had to be able to travel if there wasn't one in your area, or
level
one in your area when you could.
Level 2 is on site, and I think that's very important. You're in a classroom with a lot of coaches in your event group, and you get to talk. It's like, classroom learning. You have a project at the end that you do in a group. And being in person for that is incredibly beneficial. Depending on the year and the time of year, they're held, different places in the USA. Mine was in Indianapolis, so that was a very easy drive. So you might have to wait for, it to be in the right place for you. But all that to say, like, I am not there. A lot of the people don't like certifications because you shouldn't need a certification to coach. And I agree with that. You shouldn't necessarily need a certification to coach, but you should probably take your coaching skill beyond, this is how I was coached.
Yep.
This is what I believe in because it's what I know.
Yep.
It's because there's so many biases there.
Mm-hmm. Right. I completely agree. And I think, and if you can't, I'm a huge proponent. I still have full plans to do USATF 1 and 2. I would really like to do it. But I think for me, a lot of the barriers were when I first started, not being able to do it via Zoom, and then always having to travel and finding ones that worked. Now that is gone, but still having to take the time to do it. But I think, like you said, getting rid of some of those biases can also come from finding other places, finding online clinics that you can watch, finding other people you can talk to and bounce your ideas off from. I can't tell you how many books out there based on what event you want to coach or overall on how to be a coach. And those are ways I think that we can better ourselves to help better these athletes. And, we as coaches owe that to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're here saying that, hey, we want the best part of your day. We want the time when you get to come and have fun and unwind from school, and that should be fun. But we should be able to give them the best that we can give them during that time. And in order to do that, we can't be just coming into an event and trying to figure it out, which plenty of coaches do. And this is not a knock on that. Let me start right there, because that's the only way a lot of us learn how to do it the first time, right? So this is not a knock on that.
Yeah.
This is the people who have been doing it for, like you said, 5, 8, 10, 12 years, 15 years. I'm like, I learned this way when I was in high school and I started coaching.
I hope I'm not doing things the same way 2 years from now. That doesn't mean I want to rewrite that doesn't mean I'm not rewriting the entire philosophy. The philosophy is hopefully staying the same, but I'm assuming everything I do this year isn't going to work perfectly.
Nope.
If it does, great. Good things will probably happen, but it's probably not going to. And so this is all saying like, okay, I've never come away from a week of practice saying that entire week went perfectly. Everything exactly what I wanted. No, that's probably not how it works.
It's not going to happen.
So a lot of this is just
no.
How can you? Sometimes you can pinpoint it exactly. But when you can't, you need to have something to fall back on. That might be, the Ralphs of the world, or the I can't think of right?
Yep.
You need to pull a bold answer. You should probably go ask Dave. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, there's distance coaches that I know if I had a problem, I could reach out and they'd probably have an answer for me because they've been doing it for 40 years.
But I think that can go every way, because I think that there are coaches, and maybe you've had it, I'll guarantee, that somebody's come up to you and said, hey, I'm struggling with this. What do you guys do?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always going after the person who has 40 years, 50 years of experience. Okay. It's going after the people who maybe have less experience than you, but maybe they've gone through it. Or maybe you're the person in year 2 and you're like, hey, I have some questions, but if I don't want to go ask that guy who's been doing it for 40 years, well, I know this other person who's been doing it for 8.
Right.
Let's go talk to him.
It can be intimidating. I know, speaking from experience as one of the younger guys, like it can be intimidating saying, okay, that really good coach is standing right over there, and I have a really dumb question to ask him. That's going to go well.
Yep. And I'll admit, when I first started, I had, I was scared to go ask questions. And now it's strange for me when somebody will come up to me and ask me questions about something that we're doing. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Hey, I have experience in this, but man, it's weird to think that someone's coming to ask me that question. And at the same time, I might not know it, or I just got done asking that same question to somebody else and gave me some good advice.
Literally just implemented it 5 minutes ago, bro.
Yeah. Yep. Here, this is what's working right now. I just figured it out. So no, I think it's where we all have to be open and willing to just, hey, the questions come in, help each other out. Because at the end of the day,
here's a good one. Yeah, I don't know what he did. He's just an athletic freak. It just works.
Well, sometimes that is the answer, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
at some point the answer is grip it and rip it, right?
Yes. You don't want to tell the kids that, but yes.
No. But at some point.
So I think for me, that's one of the big things that I think that's one of the big things. Just how can we all better that? It's not change necessarily, just bettering that.
Formally, and I know it's like there can be information overload too, right? Like there are so many books. I don't know what it's like throwing wise, but it can, like when you're talking sprinting or running, like there's a lot of stuff you can do. Mm-hmm. There is a whole lot of stuff you can do. And at some point, Like if you're starting from scratch, like at some point you just got to put pen to paper and do it.
Yep.
I think that a lot of people stress out about the training plan. The older you, I think the older you get, hopefully, the more you realize that you can do a lot of things that work really well. You can do a whole lot of things. Training doesn't have to be that fancy. A lot of coaches just want to go straight to that and want to go like want the workouts.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, what workout are you doing this week? How many reps? What's the rest? Like, you can do like teenagers, you can do a lot of stuff. And as long as you keep them healthy, like teenagers respond really well to stimulus.
Yep.
You can mess it up. Like you can mess it up real quick. But if you're being cautious and you have half an idea, like don't overthink the training part. But also like lots of people use a lot of different words that all mean the same thing. Right? Like,
oh yeah.
From a running perspective, like run a lot, 2 times a week, run pretty fast. That's it, right? Like make your kids healthy.
Yep.
Yeah. So the one thing I never want to do is, hey, what did you do this season? I'm going to copy it and implement that next year. It's not like everybody's situation is so different. Like it depends on the kids you have. It depends on their school day. It depends on your facilities.
Yep.
Like what coach X does down the road. If he wins a championship with it, I can't just do that. So you've got to know how to take those specific things that you learn and implement them the right way.
Absolutely. Because I bet there's as much to do with the athletes buy-in, especially out of season and wanting to get better and do that, than there is the in-season stuff. Because everybody knows what you see happen at the end of the season wasn't started in March.
No, it wasn't. And that's really probably the biggest
one. Say never, but barely ever will you see an athlete come in for the first time like, I've never done this. Let's see if I can figure this out. Oh, there it is. Oh.
And when you freeze, I never know when to start talking and stop talking. Because when you come back on again, I don't want to talk over you.
Shoot, I'm a state champ. Stupid, my internet's bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. This episode comes through weird.
It's all good.
Internet issues.
But that could mean anything. Like a jumper who plays basketball is probably benefiting from the billion plyos he's doing during basketball season that aren't even scheduled plyometric drills.
100%.
Right? Like a good basketball player who's on the court for all of practice and all of game for I don't know how many months basketball season is. I've got no idea. But that contributes.
Mm-hmm.
So the point being, like, you better be starting doing stuff at the end of October, beginning of November.
Yep. Okay. So I think that kind of leads into my second, and this one might be a little controversial on people will like this or not.
Controversy. Usually you always say that, and then it ends up being not controversial at all. But
let's see. All right, here we go. Maybe I'm back. All right, so that kind of leads me into my second thing that I'd like to see changed, or not. Yeah, I guess changed. And this is going to be a little controversial, but I would love to see coaches have more understanding for kids trying to work out of season stuff, if that makes sense. And what I mean, so what I mean by that is we have to be, or we don't have to be, but we are very understanding as a spring sport and as a track that we get a lot of kids who will do ASO, who will do travel ball, who will do whatever it is. And we know that a lot of these kids, that's probably their main sport.
Mm-hmm.
But we still allow them to come out and do track, and we love having them there, and we want them there.
Pray that they don't fall apart halfway through the season.
Correct. But I would be willing to bet that if I'm going to use Benji as an example, if Benji all of a sudden really started going and doing some training and stuff after practice, and Cisco found out, he's probably not going to be real happy of the whole situation. He's not going to stop him.
Yeah.
But I think across the board, we are very understanding, or at least maybe it's just an us thing internally at Byron, but we are very understanding of kids who do other sports, and we know that that's their main sport, and allow them to come out and still want them there and still want them to be a part of the team. And a lot of times they're really good athletes and they might be a huge contributor, but we know that soccer is their number one sport.
And I don't want to operate out of a fear of rejection-based mentality. Ultimately, and I'm saying this as our school just added boys volleyball officially, and that's one more thing to compete with, right? I don't want to operate out of that mindset that we're constantly. It's not a zero-sum game. Like, ultimately, we have to make our team the team that they want to be on, one way or another.
Yep.
Right?
100%.
So I'm not going to be like, oh, would you please be on my team? I'll let you do whatever you want, right? Like, but at the same time, like, we have a kid on our team who, if we didn't let him play travel soccer his freshman year, we wouldn't have one of our best sprinters. He's one of our best sprinters now, and he's talking about running track in college, right? It doesn't always work out that way.
No.
It's probably like you're probably going to have one in. I don't know. I don't have enough data. We haven't been doing this long enough to have concrete data, but that's going to be like a 1 in 10 situation probably. And the rest of it is truly like, I learned you just got to like learn to let go. There's got to be a baseline level of, okay, to be on our team, this is the expectation, right? You can't just show up on meet day, right?
Yep.
It would be irresponsible as a coach to not let a kid to let a kid skip practice because of all this stuff, right? It's not straight up not healthy, right?
Yep.
But beyond that, let's say they're following. You figure out what the baseline expectations for your program are. And if the kid's following that, at some point, if they want to go freelance and go play another sport or do whatever else, they want to go train for a triathlon, or if they want to go work freaking 20 hours a weekend and be on their feet that long, right? Like, we know that the number one problem is going to be injury risk. All these things. So at some point, like, I can tell a kid, and I had a conversation like this recently. Like, I'm not going to tell you you can't do this. However, if you're choosing to do this, the risk of injury goes up a lot.
Yeah.
And if you get hurt, like, even if I modify what we're doing, which that's probably a different conversation entirely, which I'm not prepared to have because I haven't thought it through enough.
Yeah.
I don't think, just off the top of my head, like, we individualize every day, stuff happens. Kid X has to leave for work, or kid X, they have a very important band rehearsal. And so, stuff happens. So we modify every day. I'm not sure about modifying a ton for travel sports. Usually they're leaving practice early or something, right? But it's an increased risk. And if they're going to choose to do that, like me worrying about it it's not going to help anything.
Right.
So, you know what? At some point you just got to learn to coach the kids in front of you.
Yep.
Give them the best that you got, and if you're doing things the right way, the competition takes care of itself.
Yep. I agree with that. I agree that gives these kids the ability to make the choice themselves, because at this point, outside of maybe a freshman, you start becoming a junior, senior, you're making these choices. Like, you're an adult. I mean, you're a kid, but you're an adult. You're going to make these choices regardless if I tell you yes or no. And so, but the ability to be able to have them come in and let them make that choice, but let them kind of figure it out on their own. And like you said, not every kid's going to learn to love track, or the other way. Not every kid's a track kid who is going to be doing track and decides to play football for the first time and all of a sudden falls in love with football. It's not going to happen every time, but there will be times. And I think as coaches, we just have to be okay with knowing these kids are still finding out what their love is.
Right. Ultimately the fact of the matter is, if you've got a kid who's talented on your team, and if they're a good teammate, they're working hard, regardless of what's going on outside.
Yep.
If they're your best option and you put them in a position to succeed and they start succeeding and they get a taste, like, it's probably going to take care of itself.
Yep.
And if you have a kid who was probably never going to be quite good enough to be, your number 2 guy on the 4x1, if he's not fast enough to be that guy in the first place.
Yep.
Right. Or if he's only throwing, you got a dude who, if his upside is, it's funny that I say this number, but if his upside, if like his big upside is 40 feet.
Yep.
That, and you got 4 guys that are throwing 45, 46, 47, 48, like,
yeah.
Ultimately, you just got to create the best environment for the kid.
That you have to be able to create the best environment for them. You have to be able to let them have fun doing it, to give them the best that you can every day, and know that, yeah, maybe that's what his upside is. And if he falls in love with it,
he's frozen again. Man, you think this guy could afford better internet? He's got to sell some more implements. He's really frozen. I wonder if he's gonna even come back from this one. Oh, it's just me. I'll try to monologue about something while he gets back in. I'm gonna text him real quick, just so that, he knows that he got booted out. But I'm gonna text him. Oh, there, he's back. Never mind. He's back. I don't have to monologue.
I'm curious to see what this recording looks like now.
Yeah. I didn't do much there. I was about to try to think of my topic, but didn't have it yet. So
okay.
Good thing you're back.
All right. Well, I have one more that I had on my mind.
Okay, go.
Okay. The last one I had, and this falls on us as coaches, but I would love to see at meets, all meets, the host schools spending more time ensuring that the judges, the volunteers, understand the events
Yeah, I agree. So yes.
across the board. And there's nothing I'm thinking of in particular. But I think you can go to every meet and there's at least one event where there's somebody who's like, I don't know what I'm doing. They just handed me this clipboard and said, here, you're going to run this. And then we're like, oh, okay, cool. Now we have to try to download them on the rules. And then I think there's coaches that don't always understand the updated rules and stuff, but then you have to download them on the rules, and it can become more cumbersome than it needs to be.
So we're hosting our invite for the second year, and coming away from it last year, that was probably one of my biggest takeaways was want to make sure the volunteers feel confident in what they're doing and are doing it the right way. And so I probably realized, okay, we probably have to have some sort of training session beforehand. More than just, hey, show up a half an hour early so we can talk you through it. Probably more than that, because coaches on meet day and on meet day that we're hosting, we're kind of all over the place. So
Yep.
Yeah. So it has to be some sort of info session beforehand, and it could be a Zoom, it could be in person. And there's, you get, hopefully coaches have the same experience we do, where we get, this family is in our program for however many years. They have, 3 kids that get through it. And they're always, as long as the Bobo Dykes are in our program, discus is going to be covered. No problem. Yep. And then by the time they've aged out, the next person comes in, hopefully, right?
Hopefully.
Hasn't happened with the jumps yet. Covering the jumps is always a problem. But when those new people do come on board, giving them the tools to be successful, because they're not hard jobs.
No,
that's the hardest part. They're not hard jobs. And so we even fall into the trap of, I know how easy a job it is, and I kind of take it for granted that I know how easy a job it is. And then yes, even if you show up early, probably need a little bit more than that to become competent in it.
Yes.
I remember the one we're probably both thinking of is there was an invite we went to a few years ago. And I think you had to basically run the throws, and I was up at pole vault, and I think she was a high school girl that was running it. And she's like, yep. Okay, so it's like open pit, right? And I was like, open pit pole vault, that's a first. Like the bar is just going to come back down. No, that's not how we do this.
Yeah. Yep. That was on my mind. But like I said, there was nothing specific.
Not going to mention who this meet was for. We're not going to do that, but it was exciting.
It was exciting. But like I said, but it's not just one. It's across the board, and it's been us before, and it's been meets we've gone to before, and it can be throws at one, and it's a jumps at one. And I mean, it is what it is. And I understand that a lot of these parents are getting asked to volunteer, and some of them are asked on site because another volunteer didn't show up or they couldn't find it.
It reminds me, I should probably start making my sign-up genius for the next season.
Literally. But it's just one of those things that I don't have a good answer how, other than to try to get people there early enough or ahead of time to be able to have those discussions.
Well, there's got to, like, I think that especially if you're running an invite,
yeah,
you're hopefully banking some money for your program. If you're running an invite, give them something back. Give them a shirt, give them a t-shirt, give them some food.
Yep.
Think of some other way to thank them, to not really make it worth their while, because it's like, but people love free t-shirts. So
yes. Yeah, they do. Yep.
Get if you're a coach and you're listening to this and you don't know where to look, like, ask your National Honor Society teacher if they've got kids who need volunteer hours. Now that it probably ends up being more of a kid putting the bar up at pole vault while an experienced person is running the clipboard, right? Or they're probably raking a pit, or they're probably the one standing next to the high jump standard, putting the bar back up. But you'll get some kids that need volunteer hours, and that's the way to do it too. So,
Yep.
but yeah, especially the leaders, an experienced field event leader makes a meet. It changes the entire feel of the meet.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, I think overall, most meets we go to do a better than good job. They don't do a great job. They do an amazing job, but they do a better than good job. Most meets we go to, there are people there. People have experience, not at every event, but at most events. And sometimes you go to them and like, this is it. They have this going. They know what's going on. I mean, honestly, for me, I think the West Ottawa Relays, at least on the throw side, has done, or Bonans, has done an amazing job throughout the years of always having somebody there who knows what they're doing. Some people don't always agree with certain things, how they do it, but regardless, it's the same. You know what you're getting in every year. It's let's go, let's get through this, we get it done. They know what they're doing. I think there's certain places that do stuff very, very well that we can learn from.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's because, like you said, they get the same people or the same family. People have been around over and over and over again. They know what's going on.
Yep.
So when you can find those people, hold on to them. Make it, like you said, you can't say make it worth their while.
Make it
worth their while.
Experience for them. Kind of be the kind of coach who people want to be around.
Yep.
Right. Like, we honestly, we have to be that kind of person. Like, if you want your program to be successful, if you want your event to be successful, like, you have to be a person that people want to be around.
Yep.
I'm not saying like you have to change your entire personality, but like there's like a baseline level of cheerfulness and friendliness. Sometimes you have to, like, speaking from experience, like, if people think you look grumpy all the time, like, you kind of have to, like, try harder to promise it's just my face, folks. Try do some extra smiling. Sorry, it's just the way I look. Not actually angry with you.
It's just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are kind of my big three. I do have one more in the...
Let me think for a few minutes. You start on your last one.
Okay.
And then I'll try to think if I can think of, because I agree with a lot of them. I don't have any. I think I'm still too stuck in cross mode.
Yep.
To have hot takes for track season right now. So
that's understandable. My last one is a little more throws oriented, but also brings in the jumps. You will probably half agree with this and half not agree, because one of these you do not like. But I would love to see the MHSAA bring in at least one more event. And I'd love to see it be two. Because I think that the throws and jumps both get shorted a little bit.
You want hammer though.
Well,
because here's the thing. I've been convinced that Jav would be really cool.
Yes, I want hammer, but I think that overall there's a higher chance that we see Jav than hammer. And
I think the facilities are probably the easier thing to have.
That's the reason. And I've made amends to that probably being the case. And I understand that. And there's only one state that officially throws hammer. So I understand that.
Which state is it?
Rhode Island or Delaware? One of those two.
Okay, so it's one of like the old school track states. Okay.
Yeah. So there's like one that throws, or Connecticut. Anyway, I'll get it. It's somewhere up there. But there's one that throws hammer. But outside of that, there's, I don't remember exactly, double digits, I think, that throw Jav. And so I would love to see Jav come in. And I say this because now Jav throwers are typically not your prototypical throwers.
Right. That's where it's a Jav is a runway event.
It is. And
it's a runway event, not a throws event.
I would still love to see another throwing event come
Yeah.
in because you go short sprints. You got 1, 2, 4x1, 4x2. Some of them cross over into the 4. Mid sprint, same thing. Distance, same thing. Most hurdlers are probably also a sprinter, or they might jump. Most jumpers, you got long jump, high jump, but they might sprint. But I'd love to see another event come in for the throwers. And then I would also, and this is where I know you don't love it, but I would also love to see triple jump come in to add one more event for the jumpers.
It's going to be on the, I don't think I'm spilling any beans here. It's going to be on a survey that we're going to get. And the data overwhelmingly shows that Michigan is one of the odd man out not having triple.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting triple to happen in 2027.
And that would have been my guess for the one that's going to come sooner. I think Jav is going to take longer, and I say that because Michigan outlaws Jav, where they don't outlaw hammer and they don't outlaw triple jump.
Do you know officially why?
I don't actually. I just
I'm
know.
Really curious about. I'm really curious about that. What Aaron's talking about, if you're listening, is that so we have for example, at our invite, we have hammer as an exhibition event.
Yep.
Right. Relays, people do shuttle hurdles, right, or other relay distances. In the MHSAA rulebook, it specifically says that you may not do javelin at any meet in Michigan during the high school season.
You can't. I don't think you can even coach it. You can't think about it.
It doesn't say that.
I mean, we're probably in trouble by talking about it.
Oh, we're gonna get an email.
Cease and desist.
But no. So I'm really curious about why. But
yeah, I don't know. But that's the only reason why I say that I think there's a higher chance that hammer could come before jab because it isn't specifically outlawed. But I think hammer or jab would be the easier one to bring in as far as facility wise.
Yeah. I think I'm less I just don't like I'm not completely change averse, but I'm like I don't really understand the triple as an event. Like it just seems if you want to have a jumping contest, see how high or how long you can jump. Why are we adding a weird,
I will say that the triple out of those three, if you look at triple, jab, and hammer, that hammer and triple are probably the two worst on your body. Or sorry, jab and triple are probably the two worst on your body. You see a lot of shoulder, a lot of elbow injuries from jab. You see a lot of shin stuff that comes out of triple. You don't see a lot of major injuries that come out of hammer.
Right.
But that's not bringing hammer up. This is just saying like triple has its own attributes that come in that are a little more dangerous.
Before I was in we can barely find a jumps coach and we might have to add another jump.
Yeah.
Really, I think I'm less on that and we would make it work, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think a better philosophy might be like, okay, here's an opportunity, right? Like rather than complain about it, maybe it will be an opportunity to get good at something before other people do.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that there's a few teams who are going to get really good at it really quickly, but let's stop complaining and try to go score some points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no different than bringing pole vault into middle school, right? A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people thought it was going to be bad.
Yeah. Discus is being talked about, by the way. So
yes, do it.
Yep, I would feel good about that one for
everybody vote yes
as well.
Yeah, so that was my last big one that was my actual real, I'm gonna say change, but my real big change I'd like to see from the MHSA at some point. And it sounds like there's a high chance that at least one of those will come in, which is awesome.
Yep. It's like I said, expect this when you get the survey from Mitka, you can expect that, or I don't know if it's going to be from Mick. Yeah, I think it's from Mitka. You can expect that question to be on there. So for
Sweet.
triple, not for Joffrey.
Nope. Awesome.
I will. Here's my. Well, depending on if we have our guest on next time. I don't think I have many. I just don't think I have many hot takes right now. I think I'm pretty. Other than just like healthier sport, more support from people. You know, like I'm pretty happy with how things are going.
Oh, me too. I was super happy after last year with the change. I mean, I know we talked about before, but with the change of how they ran regionals and going into state meet, and I was a big proponent of that. And
I think a lot of that. I'm not going to complain about additional qualifiers or early qualifiers. Like it's going to take a few years to figure itself out.
100%.
Yeah, I think generally, I think you covered some of the things that I would think about too. So
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're hoping that depending on how timing works out with our next episode, that we will have a guest. We have a couple that have expressed some interest, and we're hoping that timing can work out to make one of these happen. So, yeah, if there is anybody that you guys who do listen would like to see or hear from, please leave it in the comments. I mean, we will do our best to reach out.
If you're interested in being
or that,
let us know.
If you would like to hop on, you got some stuff you'd like to share, but yeah, please let us know. Either way, we enjoy. We love talking about this. We love talking about track in Michigan.
Maybe we could get some of your wants and your desired changes.
Absolutely.
Unless we don't agree with them, in which case we'll just kick you off the call. Kidding.
Colin said it, not me. Okay. Well, do you have anything else?
No, we're gonna do this. We're not gonna wait 2 months.
No. And
I'm looking at my calendar. I'm pulling my calendar up, so as soon as we hang up, we can throw some dates out for the next one.
Perfect. Yes. And apologize for those who do enjoy listening to this that it took so long.
Listen, coming out of this is our first season doing this. We're not quite sure, the ebbs and flows of the season and what things that, because we don't just gotta scroll athletic.net for an hour a week and talk into microphones, right? We don't gotta do that, right? So we're trying to figure out the best stuff to talk about and the best times to talk about it. So
absolutely. Cool.
All right.
Thank you all for those who made it through the whole episode. Hopefully the bad internet on my end wasn't too bad. I will
You're the one that figured out in the boonies. So
well, listen, I'm gonna figure this out. We're gonna find some better options here. So
all
right. Well, thank you all for joining. And we hope to see you next time.
All right.
Night.
See ya. Still recording.